So what's good, YouTube family? Good morning to everybody. How's everybody doing today? Let's talk about it. So Shedeur Sanders responds after not getting drafted when he was very much predicted to be a first rounder almost all his life. And the reality set in when he found out the people who were complicit in his situation, and he didn't turn into a professional victim. This is what Shedeur Sanders had to say about not being drafted in the first round.
We all didn't expect this, of course, but I feel like with God, anything possible, everything possible. I don't feel like this happened, for no reason. All this is of course, fuel to the fire. And under no circumstance, we all know this shouldn't have happened. But we understand we're on the bigger and better things. Tomorrow's the day. We're going to be happy regardless. Legendary. We all didn't expect this, of course, but I feel like with God, anything possible, everything possible. I don't feel like this happened, for no reason. All this is of course, fuel to the fire. And under no circumstance, we all know this shouldn't have happened. But we understand we're on the bigger and better things. Tomorrow's the day. We're going to be happy regardless. Legendary.
First of all, I love what you did, Shedeur. They always talk about the chains you wear. They always talk about the things that have nothing to do with football. When they can't find criminal activities on you, it's the ad hominem attacks. It's the things coming from degenerate people who have a weird obsession with following young men with your complexion, or even guys like me with my complexions. We got to live and see what everything I've been telling people and prepping my supporters, Colorado supporters, and majority of people who look like me, what's going to happen. If you guys been watching my channels, you'll understand what I love, what Shedeur just did right there. He had the big chain. He stood up. If you watched our NFL draft party, I urge you all to go click on it. There was a lot of emotions in that draft party. We got to see how much people really hate the Sanders family, to the point where even people I like, we didn't almost become not friends, but it's just the arguments that it brings about. This is a passionate argument when it comes to people and their irrational, illogical reasoning as to why they don't like Shedeur, why they don't like Deion Sanders, or let's just be honest, let's not fake it and go deeper. Why they didn't like Patrick Mahomes, why they didn't like Deshaun Watson, why they didn't like Justin Fields, why they didn't like Lamar Jackson. I mean, we can keep going on and on and on, because I had a guy tell me yesterday that, oh, you're just mad and is saying it's about race because Shedeur didn't get drafted, when I literally have an entire catalog of videos explaining this is deeper than football. It's bigger than football, and it's definitely bigger than Shedeur. If this was only about Shedeur, there would be no need to do videos every day talking about the real climate situation problem here. And it is a lot of Mayo men who can't stand a feel-good story that has nothing to do nor involve them in. And if you think I'm lying, there are a group of men who are trying to troll. I don't call it trolling. I call it insecurity based on their inferiority complex that they have to live with. And we know when it comes to this hatred, it's because what's in their pants, what their women lust after, and it makes men uncomfortable through their own insecurities. So we can fast forward it and get to the bottom of this. The confident and bravado of Shedeur and Deion makes a lot of people uncomfortable. Yes, Cam Ward is a melanated brother and he got drafted #1, but that doesn't negate the fact to what we visibly seen happen here. If you ask most guys who disagree with me, I'm usually cool and rational about it. But then you ask and you interject the question to these people, right? Why do you hate Colorado? Because hate is a strong word. My thing, if you dislike a football team, this is what makes college football and competitive sports in general a beautiful thing, even in the professional level. You can add those same values to your work life. Competitiveness is the American value. It's what makes Americans who we are. So I'm not mad at that part, but it's the visceral of hate. The things they start spewing and bringing up that has nothing to do with football, nothing to do with the X's and O's. And that's why I tell people it's deeper than football. it's bigger than football, because you'll have a guy coming out here to tell me I'm the one who dislike people who are Mayo, yet my moderators are all different ethnicities and nationalities, especially Mayo people. Majority of my supporters are Mayo people. But the mindset of the one who hates you based on stereotypes, based on their own fallacies, and that they choose to masquerade as a normal conversations. For instance, these people who don't like the Sanders family or who don't like me because I represent Colorado, instead of actually debating or conversating in an articulate way about their reasoning, they just throw ad hominem attacks or deliberate attacks. You don't have a father, or they turn into professional victims while claiming you're the one who's the professional victims. They'll say that you're using a race card while they're using a race card. They don't substantiate their facts. And the only thing they keep telling you, Colorado is trash. I thought you had to break down why these group of people are not that good. You don't use the word trash. What are we, in kindergarten? And the mindsets of these people is only race what they see, because they'll bring up something that has nothing to do with football. They're obsessed with Colorado. If you don't like somebody, which is weird, you just woke up and don't like Colorado, you don't like Dion or Shedeur, they did nothing to you, but your mind understands this is bigger than Shedeur, it's bigger than Dion. And you can't get around that because you can never explain a real, rational, logical reasoning as to why you hate them. Because if I ask you that, it's either going to be they're trash, they're arrogant. You know what they say about men who look like me, we're arrogant, all that. But if they look Mayo, they're passionate. This person cares about their profession, but for some weird reason, there always has to be this weird thing that gets attached to us, but it's not weird at all. See, I'm not a professional victim here. I get attacked because I look at that camera and I tell people who look like me, people who look Mayo, people of all ethnicities, this is what it is. And you're either going to like it or not. And instead of them choosing to go to another platform, to go somewhere, they have to keep attacking. In fact, these racists, they create like 100 accounts, bro. And then I have this technology where I literally see your IP address and you start looking at them. You play matchmaking, meaning that you see, damn, this is his account. In fact, this is his YouTube channel, because some of them have YouTube channels. So this is the so-called high IQ Mayo man that hates Shedeur Sanders. He wakes up, instead of taking care of his priorities, he's a degenerate already to society. He's a degenerate to America. He doesn't add anything to this society. What he does is wake up. He feels his superiority complex that's really misconfused with his inferiority complex, and he disguises it and masks it by waking up every day, creating fake accounts, looking for melanated people to attack on a daily basis. You can say anything about me that I defend Colorado. You know what I don't do? Those Mayo men who I did a video about, I don't go look for them, bother them, attack them, and tell Mayo people, please love me, please listen to me. It's weird behavior, but it's not shocking at all. It's typical of the norm. This is what has been happening in this society for a long time, because you'll have those same rhetoric dudes who wake up, create these attacks, call your name Shanika, Tyrone, tell you that you don't have a father, tell you that you're on EBT all day, because this is what these so-called high IQ men do. No wonder their women lust after us, because their women have to look at this guy waking up and his hobby is to put a mask on while he's trolling black folks all day. Then you give them a link to hit so you can have a conversation, and they never hit the link. This is their superpower. The chat room and comment sections on all social media platforms was created so weak, frail Mayo men like that, who have their own securities that they suffer every day, and understanding that the black man and black woman, we really do exist in this world. Why do you think a Star Wars movie will come on and like Jar Jar or whatever? Well, I'm not going to lie to you guys. George Lucas butchered the Star Wars franchise, especially when Disney put their hands on it. No wonder ESPN is a low rating channel now. But let's fast forward. When you look at movies about intergalactic space traveling or whatever, if that said so director and producer adds like a melanated guy who looks like me on it, majority of these men who hate us, they start protesting, they start preaching. I mean, this is intergalactic space. In their mindset and concept, only Mayo can exist. You can't exist. So they throw these attacks and deflections and say you're the race baiter, you're the professional victim. You know what they don't do? We all see the white male in these comment sections behaving in an unreasonable manner, meaning you see them attacking black folks, saying the god-awful, degenerate, derogatory, or racist comments. Not one of these white men who come and cry to me about, you're racist, not one of these Samuel L. Jackson sellout Sambos ever go to these groups of degenerates and say, fall back. Why are you attacking this person? Why you have so much hatred? But when it's the guy who calls out the behavior, who calls out the degeneracy that's amongst us in this great American society, they attack you because they can't deal with you having the rational, logical thinking way to call out what needs to be called out. So now you're the professional victim. Now you're this and that. But like I said, the true professional victims are the people you should be afraid of. The male people who tell you that you're using a race card, run away from them. I mean, stand your ground because I live here in the South, but you should be very wary of these type of individuals because most likely when you go to their accounts, they have nothing but the most racist, disgusting, nasty things to say about people. But what they do is they don't stand on their racisms. That's why I kind of somewhat understand people who are racist, but they stand on it. You can somewhat have mutual respect for that individual. But these other ones who have all this to say about Shedeur, they stand there. They throw all these attacks, but they never stand on it. In fact, they turn into a Karen. They turn into a Brad and Chad. They get to talking on some liberal point of views while trying to masquerade as a conservative. Because like I told you guys, I'm not MAGA, but I don't have anything against Trump, meaning that I don't join grown groups as a grown up. I don't join these facades so I can feel part of something because I missed out during my adolescence years in high school or middle school. That's what these groups are. Let's not hold nobody accountable, and they don't really put Americans first. They just want something to lash out on and cry out on. I've never seen this from so-called observant football fans who think in an irrational thinking way like that. Because when you meet a football fanatic who doesn't think rational and proves they don't know jack-ish about football, it always comes down to the race measurement. I'm not the one who made it. Paul Mooney said something exceptionally beautiful. Racism was already here when I got here. I didn't create it. For you guys to act like I'm the bearer and the standard and the creator of this thing, and you have to lash out on me, I have the one question for you. Why don't you lash out on all the people on all social media comments that you clearly see who are obsessed with black people, who wake up and their only job is to tell you you eat watermelon and fried chickens all day? You know, they have these 1920s outdated stereotypical insults towards you. And you're thinking to yourself, this individual always say we're the low IQ people and they're the higher IQ people. But ask yourself, what white guy with high IQ is wasting time following Shedeur and Dion all day to that? Racial superiority has nothing to do with me. Don't go to me because you feel superior. I feel I'm a God-fearing man who's a hypocrite at times, who's a sinner, and I'm trying to be better. This is why I call out the BS. You got to do it, bro. And you got to call out your own BS. But a lot of people are not willing to do that. This is why you see me apologize in front of the world when I'm wrong. I'll tell you in a heartbeat I was in the wrong, but you'll never get the same thing from the other side. So much love to Shedeur Sanders. I'll have more videos. I'm going to continue this video. I'm a melanated father. I can't have my kids out here behaving like the typical male people who crash out or quote unquote, well, I'm not going to use that word on YouTube because then we know what's going to happen. But nonetheless, man, I want you guys to understand and see what's been happening, and you'll love it, and you'll know where I'm coming from, and you'll have a more respect for me as a human being, a God-fearing American man, a man who puts Americans first. Because if you look at my videos, I protect everybody from the degenerates. And I believe in a society like that, it's our job to uphold the sanctity of what it means to be in the traditional American values of families that we have. We don't uphold it. We have these weirdos running around with fake accounts and just jabbering, policing us up while they claim they protect free speech. But then when you give free speech, they turn into professional victims. I don't get this. Shedeur didn't cry about not being drafted. He stood like a bold warrior, and he told you what he said.
We all didn't expect this, of course, but I feel like with God, anything possible, everything possible. I don't feel like this happened, you know, for no reason. All this is of course, fuel to the fire. And under no circumstance, we all know this shouldn't have happened. But we understand we on the bigger and better things. Tomorrow's the day. We're gonna be happy regardless. Legendary.
Ooh.